Past Now Read presents another entry in our anthology of stories that need to be told. The Rafters. Enjoy! If you have a story that needs to be told, email it to stories@pastnowread.com. If you like this story, stay tuned on every Sunday at 12:15 p.m. for another episode. Now, The Rafters. The waters came fast. I never imagined drowning could be so quiet. The kind of quiet that screams. The wind had vanished, replaced by the dull thrum of water climbing up pew legs and lapping at stained glass. I stood chest-deep in the sanctuary of a forgotten church, the only structure left standing in our low-lying valley. My boots floated, my breath came in gasps. She was up there, gripping the rafters. Her voice was hoarse, her hands bleeding. "Don't let go!" I choked, craning my neck upward. "Please, just hold on." Her name, I won't say it yet. Not because I've forgotten, but because remembering hurts more than the flood ever did. This wasn't supposed to happen. 1 hour ago, we were touring the chapel ruins, prepping to document its restoration. She, the photographer, me, the builder. The place was dry then. Peaceful even. We ignored the storm warnings, the sun still lingered. Then the rain turned to rage. We heard the creak before we saw it, like a freight train with no brakes. Within minutes, roads vanished. Fields swallowed cars. We ran, but the flood moved faster. The current ripped us off our feet before we made it 50 yards from the church door. We clawed our way back inside. That was 35 minutes ago. Now, she clings to splintered beams high in the ceiling, above where the water dared reach, for now. I tried to climb after her, failed. My left leg had slammed against a submerged piano earlier. It hung limp, useless. "I can't do this, Beep," she whispered from above, shivering. "We're not getting out of this, are we?" She was a skeptic, didn't believe in much, especially not God. But I did, so I prayed. Right there in rising water, I folded my hands against the smooth edge of a pew and whispered into the silence. "Father, if you're here, if you still do miracles, we could use one right about now." That's when I saw it. The cross. Not a vision, not some divine hallucination, but a real one mounted above the altar, its shadow stretched across the ceiling just above her shoulder. Lightning split the sky behind the stained glass window, sending fractured light across her face. She looked down. "You still think he's listening?" "Yes," I said without thinking, "and I think he's already moving." She didn't respond. The church creaked, timbers moaned, the roof shuddered, the water had reached my neck. Any second now it would reach hers, then crack. The ceiling near the bell tower split just enough to let a narrow shaft of evening light shine through. "There!" I shouted, pointing with everything I had. "That's your way out." She blinked through the shadows. "Are you crazy?" "Climb across the rafters, crawl to the tower. If there's any dry space in this place, it's up there." She stared at the tiny opening like it might disappear. "But what about you?" she asked, voice trembling. "I'll be right behind you." That was a lie. There was no right behind, not with my leg. But hope is contagious, and sometimes a lie born of love saves lives. She began to move. Her fingers scraped raw against old beams. Her boots slipped, but she didn't fall. Inch by inch, she crawled toward the bell tower like a child escaping through a birth canal of fear and faith. Below, I whispered again, "God, don't let her fall. Don't let this be the end." And as the water kissed the corner of my mouth, I thought I heard it. A bell faint and hollow, echoing through the storm. Did she make it to the tower? Can he survive long enough for rescue? Is this God's plan? Or just the beginning of something worse? The tower. The storm had moved on. But inside the church, it still raged. She'd made it to the narrow ledge beneath the bell tower's trapdoor. I could just make out her outline, a trembling silhouette lit by brief flashes of lightning. I wanted to call out, to tell her I was still here, still alive. But the water was too high. Every breath was a battle now, every word a drowning. The cold was inside my bones. It wasn't just floodwater, it was loss, of warmth, of control, of time. She called down, her voice like glass. "There's something up here!" I tried to respond, but my lungs betrayed me. Then I heard the clang, the trapdoor. She'd found a way to pry it open. God, I wanted to believe that was a sign. But what if it wasn't an exit? What if it was a tomb? I began pushing off walls, dragging myself toward the side aisle, searching for any floating debris I could use. My body screamed. That piano strike had likely broken something, but I couldn't afford to stop. I gritted my teeth and kept going. Then a beam crashed down behind me, sending a wave over my head. The church groaned again, like something ancient and angry. Lightning danced across the stained glass one last time before the window exploded inward, letting in a freezing wind that howled through the rafters like a dying choir. I surfaced, coughing water and blood, and finally found it. A kneeling bench, half soaked, but floating. I grabbed it, pulled it tight to my chest, and let it carry me to the stairs that curved toward the tower base. 1 step, 2, 10, every inch upward brought me one more breath. "Are you okay?" she called down. I forced air into my lungs. "Not dead yet." The stairs groaned under my weight, but the water was just below now, closer to her, still too far, and my leg was useless. I collapsed halfway up, forehead against the cold stone. That's when she leaned down from the trapdoor's edge, her arms stretched toward me. "Give me your hand!" I almost laughed. "I weigh too much." "Try." It wasn't the word that moved me, it was the tremble in it, not fear, desperation. She wasn't trying to save a stranger, not anymore. She was trying to save me. I dragged myself up one more stair, and another. The edge of her fingers brushed mine, then finally, grip. Her fingers wrapped around my wrist, white-knuckled. "Don't let go," I whispered this time. With a scream, she pulled. My leg throbbed, my ribs shrieked, but my heart roared louder. With one final heave, I slipped through the broken trapdoor and fell beside her into the dusty shadows of the bell tower attic. We lay there in silence, staring up through cracked rafters at the storm-blurred stars above. That's when she began to cry. Not loud sobs, just soft, broken sound. I reached over and pulled her close, even though every muscle in my body rebelled. She trembled against me. "I didn't think you believed in anything," I said. "I didn't," she whispered. "Not until I saw you." Praying. "Not until I saw that light." She paused, then, barely audible, "Not until he opened this door." It wasn't lost on me that she just said, "Not you, not the universe, he." Then came the next sound, a low creaking above us. The tower wasn't stable. She sat up, brushing hair from her eyes. "If this place goes..." "It won't," I said. "Not yet." She pointed upward. "There's a maintenance ladder. It goes to the bell." I blinked at her. "The bell?" "There's a hatch. Might open to the roof. If we can get up there." Hope again. Dangerous, flickering hope. I took her hand. "I'll climb first," she said. "No," I said firmly. "This time we go together." And we rose, bloodied, soaked, breathing, but not broken. We climbed, rung by rung, toward the roof, toward the wind, toward a miracle. Will the bell tower hold? Is there really a roof exit? And if they escape, what's waiting beyond the flood? Will rescue find them, or is the worst still coming? The bell. The ladder to the bell was old, rusted iron wrapped in vines of rot. Each step groaned under our weight like it remembered better days. I climbed first this time, not because I was stronger, but because I needed her to know she wasn't alone anymore, that if we made it out, it would be together. We didn't speak as we rose. Words felt like broken glass, too painful to use. Halfway up, my leg buckled. She steadied me from below, whispering something that almost sounded like a prayer. She didn't know I heard it, but I did. When we reached the top, I pressed my hand against the trapdoor. It wouldn't budge, swollen from years of rain. I could feel the wind just inches beyond. If we could open it, we'd be on the roof, above the flood, above the fear, but I couldn't force it. My fist pounded against the wood. Once, twice, then I collapsed, forehead pressed against the floor of the bell housing. "I'm sorry," I muttered. I thought we were being led." She knelt beside me, her hands trembling as they touched mine. "Maybe we were," she said. "Maybe we still are." I looked into her eyes, and, for the first time, I saw more than fear. I saw fight, I saw faith, new, raw, born in the crucible of survival, and then she stood. She wrapped both arms around the ancient bell's iron yoke and pulled with everything she had. The tower groaned. The bell, silent for decades, shifted. And then it rang. Not loud, not pure, but real. A cracked, quivering tone that echoed into the sky like a war cry from the lost. We froze, and then a noise from below. A voice. "Hello!" We scrambled to the trapdoor again. This time we beat on it together, fists and palms and hope and desperation. Then, bang, bang. Something hit it from the outside. The hatch popped open, daylight poured in, cold, wet, glorious. Two firefighters leaned over the edge, jaws slack with disbelief. "How did you? We thought no one—" She collapsed into their arms. I followed, dragging my leg behind me like a war-wounded soldier who'd finally crossed the last trench. They wrapped us in blankets, lifted us onto the roof, which was just barely dry. We could see for miles, nothing but rooftops and ruin, but we were alive. They didn't ask our names at first, just if we needed a medic. I nodded, then paused. "There's a cross," I said, pointing back toward the shattered stained glass. "In the sanctuary, I think it deserves to stay." One firefighter glanced down at the building. "You came through that?" she answered. "No, we came through something bigger." That night, under a Red Cross tent, we lay side by side on narrow cots, the storm miles away now. I asked her, "What made you pull the bell?" She smiled through cracked lips. "I don't know, I thought maybe God wasn't done with us yet." Neither of us slept. When dawn came, the sky was clear. A slow mist rose over the ruined valley, and for the first time she reached for my hand, not because she was afraid, but because she wasn't. The medics gave us dry clothes, but neither of us changed right away. We were still wearing the moment, still dripping with the weight of it. Later, she sat across from me, holding a cracked coffee mug like it was sacred. "I used to think faith was weakness," she said, staring into the steam, "like people used it to explain away pain." "And now?" I asked. She looked up at me. "Now I think maybe faith is what gets you through it." That silence between us wasn't empty, it was full of gratitude, of memory, of something unspoken, still growing. Outside, the sky split open again, but not with rain. This time, it was light. The sky between us. The sun came up like it had something to prove. We stood at the edge of a muddy parking lot turned landing zone. Helicopters ferried out the wounded, Drones hovered like vultures, cataloguing wreckage. It should have felt like chaos, but it didn't. It felt like resurrection. She walked beside me slowly, arm looped through mine, not because I needed support, though I did, but because she did too. Something invisible held us together now. The kind of thread you only find when everything else is torn. They told us there was a bus coming, a shelter with hot food and soft blankets. But she looked toward the ridge instead, the one we had parked on the day before. Her camera bag was still there. I'd forgotten. She hadn't. "I want to go back," she said softly. I nodded. "Then we go." A volunteer offered a ride. We climbed into the back of a military truck, bouncing along the washout roads past the scarred landscape we'd survived. Trees bent backward, cars crumpled like toys, entire houses split in two. At the top of the ridge, the truck stopped. We got out in silence. Her camera bag was there, muddy but intact. She knelt to unzip it. The camera still worked. She raised it and pointed toward the valley. But she didn't click. Instead, she lowered the lens. "I don't need a photo," she said. "I'll remember this forever." Then she turned and faced me. I used to believe in logic, in evidence, that truth was what I could prove. "And now?" I asked. "Now I think truth is what saves you." We sat on the tailgate as the wind whispered through the trees. She reached into her bag and pulled something out, a water-warped photo. The one she'd taken of the chapel window right before the flood came. The cross was centered. The light had formed a halo around it. She hadn't seen that before. "Maybe he was always there," she said. That's when we heard the song. Not from the sky, not from the truck's radio, but somewhere in the valley below. A choir. Dozens of voices singing in broken harmony. We turned. Below us, a group of survivors stood outside the damaged church. They were wet, bruised, still shivering. But they were singing. No one organized it, no one led it. It just rose. Amazing grace. How sweet the sound. She looked at me, eyes shining. "Let's go," she whispered. We ran, limping, aching, down the slope, toward the flood-soaked ground. We joined the circle. We didn't know the verse they were on, it didn't matter. She slipped her hand into mine. That was the moment I knew. We hadn't just been saved from the flood. We'd been rescued from something deeper, fear, doubt, emptiness. She wasn't the same woman who had clung to the rafters, and I wasn't the same man who had prayed from below. As we stood in that circle of strangers, I saw more than just survivors. I saw testimonies in motion. An elderly man in tattered clothes sang with eyes shut tight, tears slipping from his face. A young mother cradled her baby to her chest, mouthing every word as if it were the first prayer she'd ever dared to speak aloud. This wasn't just a hymn, it was a defiance of despair. She squeezed my hand tighter, and I realized we weren't just spared, we were called to remember, called to change, and maybe in time, called to lead others back from their own storms. The after. 3 months later, we returned. The church had been gutted, mold stripped from walls, beams replaced. But the bell remained, so did the cross. She stood beside me in the sunlight, her hand in mine, camera at her side, but she didn't raise it. "This isn't something I need to capture," she said. "It's something I need to carry." We didn't talk about what we lost that day, or what we found. Some things are sacred in silence, but every time it rains, we both remember. Not the fear, not even the flood, but the moment we both stopped drowning and started believing. Author's note: this story is fictional and inspired by real acts of courage and faith during natural disasters. It is shared with deep reverence for those who have suffered unimaginable losses. May the memory of every soul lost be honored through compassion, healing, and the enduring power of hope. You have been listening to The Rafters, produced and adapted for audio narration by Past Now Read, Stories That Need to Be Told. If you have a story that needs to be told, email it to stories@pastnowread.com. Please subscribe, like, and hit that bell for future updates. If you liked stories like this, stay tuned for the next episode each Sunday at 12:15 p.m. Follow for more. If you like our stories, please tag with someone who may also like Past Now Read, Stories That Need to Be Told. It would really help our channel. Thank you. All content and images are copyrighted by Phone House LLC, 2025, all rights reserved.